Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, Dude here. Coming out again, an iteration of Dude After Dark. Of course, me being a little fun doing the seasickness thing. Of course, the whole Star Trek, oh no, we're taking hits from the alien blah, blah, blahs. The ship's taking hits. Oh man, that always used to crack me up. It's like, you see the After Effects where they're talking about doing the actual shoots on stage, and it would be like the director's like, okay, left, right, impact, and of course all the cast had to be spot on with everybody doing the same basic motions and whatnot. So yeah, that kind of stuff just really cracked me up. Everybody trying to stay coordinated for ship effects for a set that just does not budge. That never failed to just make me laugh. Anyway, so news. My word, it is getting fun. And the sound guy's been busy. He's been making sound effects. He's also been doing more than making sound effects. I think I caught him in the bathroom once making sound effects, and it was just not good. But sound guy. Yeah, thanks, sound guy. Anyway, so looking at things as it is, we basically find ourselves looking at the news at large, and man, I got to tell you what, it is getting very, very interesting. A lot of stuff's coming out now, and admittedly, they are now finding out that, well, they weren't exactly being truthful about a whole bunch of stuff. So, let me just scroll on down to the correct iteration and find myself in the proper timeline and able to do things as I needed to do. Oh, okay. Well, this one's actually something that came in from last week, and I actually didn't talk about it, but it is very, very interesting. So supposedly there's now news coming out that they're now saying actually that, yeah, the affordable green energy thing, it might be not so good, mostly because, oh yeah, it costs way too much money, and the energy density versus the energy expenditure is not even close. And I do mean not even close. So let's just say that you put up a turbine. The fiberglass blades are unrecyclable. They have a built-in lifespan. The actual turbine itself is mounted way the heck up there. It endangers birds. And mostly the biggest thing is it only generates power when there's good wind. If there's no wind, you're not getting any kind of, well, you're not getting any energy expenditure at all because you ain't got nothing blowing, so you ain't getting no air. Sound guy, stop that. Anyway, so if you got no air, no wind, no wind, sound guy, sound guy. If you got no wind, yeah, see what happens? You push and something goes wrong. Yeah, so something goes wrong. Yeah, you pushed too hard. All right, so anyway, sound, stop. If you got no wind, you got no. Stop. Sound guy. Okay, he's going to go through the entire catalog again. Anyway, so way, shape, and form in which we find ourselves. This turbine also, because it requires a lot of infrastructure to actually make it function, if it doesn't work in cold weather, it locks up. You need to have a diesel generator running power to it to keep it warm so it doesn't completely lock up. Patriot Fever, Martina Sasquatch, appreciate you guys coming on by, hanging out with me tonight. So essentially, the other thing too is also when these things grenade, and I do mean spectacularly grenade. You'll see this big flaming fireball, way the heck up in the air. The turbine blades are spinning and they're stirring all this, flaming gack everywhere. Burning oil is spraying all over the place. And oh, yeah, when it gets hot enough, the vertical mast fails. And when the mast fails, everything's coming down like a big tree in the forest. And like I said, the blades aren't like recyclable. The sheer infrastructure to make and build and put this thing in place and turn it on is not nearly the amount of power that it's ever going to generate in its expected lifespan. So you could say essentially you have just put that thing up there and it's just not going to do it. Yeah, it's going to fall on its face and sound guy. Okay, it's not going to make enough power for the amount of generation in its lifespan compared to the amount of power and energy and carbon offsets that they try to say that it generated in the aspect of making something that is basically make quote unquote air quotes mega air quotes making free power from the Earth's wind. It's not the same thing as okay. It's not making power, okay? It just isn't making power. Anyway, so it's now come out, carbon excesses is killing endangered birds. Pervasive narrative about offshore wind in recent years has been shown that the costs are failing and the wind power is cheap. At the scratch below the surface, you find things are not quite rosy. Turbine manufacturers have been losing money hand over fist in recent years. Collectively, over the past 5 years, the top four turbine producers outside the United States in China have lost almost $7 billion US and over $5 billion US in 2022 alone. Last year, the chief executive of turbine maker Vestas said that the company lost 8% on every turbine sold. Some of the losses are down to warranty issues. This means the turbines not performed as expected, requiring the manufacturers to compensate wind farm developers and rectify problems. Privately, this is attributed to the pressure for even larger windmills, which are harder to get right. The insiders now suggest the growth in the capacity per turbine has peaked, at least for the time being. Translation, our technology is not quite good enough to make something big enough to do the job, and it pretty much just completely sucks. We ain't there yet with the green energy, mostly because it takes too much power to make the things that are going to be quote unquote, air quotes, mega air quotes, generating green energy. And of course, there's a lot of other aspects to that. You're basically talking about like shipping the items. Well, you got to use diesel fuel. You're not using EV vehicles to move those massive turbine blades around. And I've actually seen them on trucks. It's this really ridiculously long trailer. That's a tractor trailer towing this thing, okay? The turbine blades age out. What do? They pop them off and they go, ground fill. Boop. They put them into the ground. Fiberglass does not degrade nicely, even buried, okay? It's around. Let's see. Scrolling. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but also on February 14th, besides Valentine's Day, it was the commemoration of the 1911 Colt 45 ACP firearm. That's right. John Moses Browning patented the 1911 on February 14, 1911. Happy Valentine's Day. And if you got a 1911, be sure to take it out and give it a healthy rub on and play with it and make it happy. And yeah, it's good stuff like that there. I got a couple of 1911s and yes, they are all that in a cat's pajamas. I really don't shoot them too terribly much because, well, 45 is not cheap. Comparatively, you're only talking what? 355 versus 452. So what's that? A tenth of an inch? It's much easier to feed them and happily feed them with Mr. 9mm. Yes. And they actually do make 1911s in 9mm. As a matter of fact, the Sylvester Stallone movie Cobra was very unique in showing, he's walking around with this 1911 and it's got the cool looking grips on it and he's basically duking it out with the bad guys. It was a 9mm. It wasn't a 45. It was a 9mm. So Cobra was ahead of the game with the 9mm game, saying, no, okay, we might be carrying the old Warhorse, but we're not going to be carrying it 45. Mostly because even in the 1911 envelope, you're going to get one more round of ammo. So you're not going to be carrying 8 rounds of ammo. You're going to be carrying 9 rounds of ammo. Patriot wants a 911 screw Pritzker. Dude, 1911s work. The only thing I can tell you for sure is it is literally one of the most accidental discharge prone accidental discharge prone firearms on the planet, because most people don't keep their booger hook off the bang switch. Okay. 1911s are really, really safe. You put the safety on, it physically locks everything up. The hammer is not going forward. If you do have an incident and the hammer does go forward, there's actually a half cock notch that catches the hammer before it fires. The later iterations on the Colt 1911, there was something known as a Series 70 and a Series 80. The Series 80, if you take it apart, it's got some additional parts. It literally will not fire unless you pull the trigger. And if the hammer falls, there's actually a firing pin block. There's a little piece of metal that comes up inside there and locks the firing pin until such time as you pull the trigger, and then that drops out of the way and allows the gun to fire usually. Now, there is the people going, well, it adds an extra click to the trigger travel, and it feels glitchy. If you tune any 1911, they will outshoot the person holding them. They are literally a one-hole gun at 25 meters. No problem. Trust me on that one. They will shoot. One of my Goose Loose ones, which is actually a World War I 1911, I do have a couple of good parts on it, but it's still, you can rattle, thing shakes like a castanet. Okay. I mean, it's Goose Loose, rattle, rattle, gun. But just messing around with that thing, and anybody will tell you the 1911 versus the 1911 A1. So the earlier iteration of the 1911, the sights are so bitty. And I do mean bitty. Like the front sight is like, if you had a sheet of paper compared to a piece of cardboard, it is literally really minuscule. It's very hard to pick up. And most of the time you're engaging people with those things, you're trying to keep it within 25 feet. Okay. That's just the nuts and bolts of it. But anyway, with that gun, as Goose Loose as it was, and with the sights being as really hard to pick up as they were, I hit a Freon can like 5 shots out of 7 at 100 yards. Okay. So that tells you immediately the thing will shoot. And it's merely a case of having to know where it hits, where it does, and what it does. That's one of the kitties. What's it doing? Oh, it's over on this side. Okay, that's one of the kitties. That's that's Biscuit. Full name Limp Biscuit. My niece named him that, but anyway. So yeah, that's Biscuit. He's our big fat roly poly cat. Let's see. Scroll. 1911 chambered in 4570. Dude, they don't make a 1911 in 4570. If nothing else, the grip would be literally about as big as your hand, because a 4570 is a really long cartridge. The biggest caliber they ever made a 1911 format in is probably the 45 Magnum in the Win Mag, 45 Win Mag in the LAR Grizzly. That's what it was, which is really just a big 1911. There was obviously the 357 version done by Koonin. There is the 9mm Winchester Magnum. It was also done by Grizzly Win Mag. But the thing is, with those grips, they're kind of really they're marginal. I mean, they're big. And I got actually really big palms, not big fingers, but really big palms. I can actually pick up a Desert Eagle and it doesn't feel too big to me. The LAR Grizzly, kind of marginal, but it's just really just a big 1911. So anyway, way, shape, and form, if you're looking for 4570 Patriot Fever, you're looking at a revolver. And if you look at Kentucky Ballistics, he literally is playing with like something even bigger than what most people would consider normally aspect recoil junkie type stuff. Yeah, he's got some new 50 caliber revolver video that just came up, and I'm not even subscribed to him. It's just his videos pop up in my feed. But yeah, he's got that monster revolver. Check that video out. That thing is just ridiculous, and the specs on it are just completely ridiculous. I am not a full-on recoil junkie. Basically, my top upper limit is probably 357 Magnum. That's or 10 millimeter. That's about as big as I go. I've shot a 44 Magnum, did not like it, and it was actually a Ruger Super Red Hawk, which is supposedly like one of the biggest, heaviest 44 Magnums around. Did not like it. I got about 4 rounds into the cylinder, and I basically popped it open, gave it back to the guy at the gun range, and said, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'm good." Yeah, that's no, that's just it's a little too much ass for this kid. 10 millimeter though, love the 10 millimeter. I've shot him alongside my 1911, and the guy that had the 10 mil, he had a Colt Delta Elite, I think it was, stainless steel. And I picked it up, basically took a mag of ammo, walked over to the range area, unloaded, was knocking out doubles really, really fast. And I was like, yeah, this thing's cool. Give him his gun back. And he's like, how many times you shot those things? It's like, dude, it's the first time. It's just, your gun is like my 1911, but it's just really, really fast. You basically have a 1911, you can knock out a double. It's like, dunk. With a 10 mil, it's like, da. It's really just a slide velocity, and everything just happens so much quicker. But the recoil impulse on it is sweet. It actually, I would say it kind of feels almost like a cross between like a 45 and like a 9 millimeter. It's like the slide velocity is really high and it's a little snappy, but the actual kick feels almost less than a 45. It was really a strange sensation, but man, those things shoot nice. And I'm really a fan of the 10 millimeter. I really, really like the 10 millimeter. The only downside is 10 millimeter is like way more expensive than feeding it with Mr. 9 millimeter. You're probably talking somewhere on the order of probably like about another 40 to 50 cents, almost more per round in some aspects. I mean, the good protection stuff, it can get really expensive. I mean, I've actually seen some of the 10 millimeter protection stuff, and it's like $1 a round. But that's also like where are you getting it from? If you're getting it like mail order, you're paying shipping. If you go to your local gun guy and he's basically got it, or if you go to like Cabela's or Bass Pro or one of those guys and they got the stuff in stock, you don't really pay for the shipping. You're just paying for the gas to go there and spend too much money in Bass Pro or Cabela's or the gun stores or anything like that. So you have that one as well. Jumping out of the gun stuff, scrolly. This one I found very, very interesting. Of course, you've all heard about the passing of Toby Keith, country music guy. They said he died from cancer. However, his staff had deleted a post of them receiving the clot shot in 2021. And the post was up, and it was, the Toby Keith Foundation, blah, blah, blah. They got this brag picture. Hey, we've all got the shot. And they're walking around with wearing masks and all. And then you go back to their site and you check on it to see if it's still there using the same link. And of course, it's now gone. But it's like I've told you guys a million, bazillion, quazillion, quadzillion, hectoblazion. I'm coming up with farcical, large numbers times. Never, ever, 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 never, ever into sheer infinity, ever post up something of which you are going to regret, is going to give off private information, or will give a technological or a technical advantage to somebody who might be a potential adversary, a crook, a snitch, a perp, agency, pick 3-letter, whichever one you don't like the most. If you have that stuff out there, you're literally saying, here's my information, buddy. Have fun with it. Don't do that, okay? So they posted this stuff up and they're like, rethink, delete. Dude, you can delete it all you want to. If you basically punch stuff up on the internet, you can find all kinds of damning evidence of things that people done over the years to be entirely stupid, posting stuff up and telling people, showing people, or addressing people in manners, ways, shape, or form, or giving that information that really should never be out there. Don't be a dumbass. If you don't want somebody to know something, there's a very simple and easy way to do that. You don't put it out there in the first place, okay? Done. Yeah, Martina Sasquatch. Yes, I did hear it was stomach cancer, but I don't think he ingested enough of whatever potential, cancer causing agent to make it happen that quick. But also the other problem is also it's one of those really annoyingly bad ones to get because simply the symptomology of having stomach cancer, it's kind of benign. You basically got like, stomach upset, you have issues with, certain other minor health issues, and the symptomology is such is that they really don't catch. The last thing they go, oh yeah, we got it nailed down, dude's got the big C. Cancer sucks. Scrolly. Oh, this one being very, very interesting. Of course, those people in the metaverse, Schmuckerberg and all the rest of his minions. This one is very, very interesting indeed. Supposedly, TikTok is now probably taken over, and the Metamoron offerings are going by the wayside because Instagram was the most deleted app in 2023. And that's actually reflecting on Google. If you punch that up on Google and punch into the search bar, most deleted app 2023, beep, it'll come up, bang. Instagram. The data shows that Instagram was the most deleted app in 2023. So I guess even kids are deciding that, oh yeah, Instagram's still one of those things that mom and dad might be on. It's not cool anymore. That was really the reason why they got off of Facebook, because they're like, oh yeah, my mom and dad are on there. I don't want them to see what I'm doing. So there is that one as well. Instagram, of course, is being kicked by the wayside. And the regret that I'm sure that Zuckerberg has right now for even thinking the word meta is probably profound. It has been an insanely wasteful amount of money that he has thrown by the wayside just to simply say, I'm going to come up with something better than these other guys, and you can't stop me because I know better than you. I'm going to make this thing happen. Yeah, he's just sound guy. I'm sure he's very much having because his little has gone full on and hardcore because it got hell expensive. Okay, I don't know why the cats went into it, sound guy, but sure. What? No, 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 no ding. No. No. Oh, I'm sure there was plenty of wee. Yeah. What are you warning me about now? You're warning me to get a ding. Dog growl ding. Okay, I don't know where you're going with this one, dude. I really don't. This one I knew was coming up, and I got the appropriate sound effect here, sound guy. Don't this one. I got this one. Okay. So supposedly the we knew was fake is now even less. And sorry, let me try to reread this again. I'm actually trying to clean this up because I posted this up on Facebook and I was actually using the correct phrase. So I'm going to try to substitute the bull meow and make it suitable for airing. So we'll put the cute noise in there instead. Okay. So that was me messing up. So the we knew was fake is now even less trust. Stop it, sound. I got that one. Is he now even less trustworthy? Being shown as complete, and the lies for what total it always was by government. So the news has now come out that the CDC, well, anyway, so the CDC plans to drop the 5-day COVID isolation guidelines. Yes, this coming in from the website that I found. So people with COVID will be able to return to work and school if they've been fever-free for 24 hours and their symptoms are mild and improving. Sound guy, what do you think this is? Thank you, sir. The new guidance aligns with the recommendations to prevent the spread of flu and RSV. Sounds like big stinky piles of yeah, yeah. It's just and complete and total absolute piles and stinky piles are of yeah, bull meow. Okay, so the fantasy involved with basically trying to say that COVID was something that it isn't. Eh, eh. So this one, I got to switch gears yet again. This one's going to be on a health aspect. Uh, Patriot Fever, 15 bucks. Biden bucks says cock off of brains announces he's. Oh no, he can't forgot to call. Forgot to cure. Oh, I got a story about him later. Don't you even worry about it. I got something about Joe Kaka coming up that you're gonna love. Anyway, I'm gonna say that she's essentially an F chucking moron because bees make something as a naturally modified, naturally occurring item, not a Frankenstein lab chemistry event of something that never existed in nature previously. Social media BS artist, you can eat that crap, but I want fresh and unpasteurized natural honey and honeycomb. So, coming in from the dailymail.com wireless, high fructose corn syrup is just as healthy as honey, says social media's favorite doctor, dispelling a common myth. Um, no, no, no. First and foremost, high fructose corn syrup is basically cornstarch that you put through a laboratory rigmarole to make it sweet. You make it into something that has never existed before in society. It's never existed before in science. And hell, it's never existed before in nature. For you to basically do this Frankenstein experiment and tweak the molecule in such a way to make it something that it isn't is really, truly bad juju. Now, the thing about it is high fructose corn syrup is actually more expensive than sugar. However, because of our tariff structure that we have on sugar in the United States, most of our sugar does not come from sugar cane. No, it comes from sugar beets. Now, that's an extended additional process to extract the sugar out of the beets. Obviously, beets are not the same thing as cane. Cane grows a lot faster than beets do. And the process therein to make the sugar out of the sugar beets is also not as cheap. However, the thing about it is when you have high fructose corn syrup, and I've actually seen trains going past with big tanker cars that say high fructose corn syrup, food grade. So you're talking one of those mega tanker cars going by full of high fructose corn syrup. Now, the manufacturers like high fructose corn syrup for a couple of good reasons. Number one, it's liquid. So when it comes time to make it in the soda, you don't need to take sugar, add water, make it in the syrup, and then finally add it to your stuff. It's already halfway there. You basically ooze some of this crap into your production line. You mix it in with all your other various ingredients. Bing, bang, boom, through the magic of industrial science, you now have a liquid form of high fructose corn syrup carried into sugar-based drinks, which are not sugar. I always look for a drink that contains sugar, okay? That's just and I really don't drink that much soda anymore either. I'd rather be drinking, Java at this point. So that's the first thing it does. It's liquid. It's easy to get into the system. It's easy to mix in. Bing, bang, boom. It's in your GAC. It's now going through the process. You don't need to deconstruct dry sugar and then reconstruct it into wet liquid sugar. The second thing is bakers love this stuff. And I do mean love, love, love with a big L. Love this stuff. Mostly because it is also liquid. You basically mix something up. You need less liquid to make your base baking stuff, and you just stick it all together. Boom, you have batter. Or the other aspect of it, too, is baked goods stay, I'm using air quotes here, really about the biggest air quotes I possibly could stick on the planet. Big air quotes here. It makes it stay fresh longer. So the shelf life of baked goods, read like all your cupcakes and all your rest of, your crap containing this stuff, stays soft, moist, palatable as it were, compared to sugar, which actually does dry out, go stale. And it is not as easy for stuff to go moldy when you're using high fructose corn syrup. Do you see a trend here? Like even the mold is like, it's and goes, yeah, no, yeah. And it takes a while for even the mold to go, all right, well, I've really worked really hard. I think I can grow on this stuff. But it's really bad juju. And then the third aspect, obviously, is oh, yeah, it's never existed in nature and your body doesn't metabolize it correctly. And there's a couple of pervasive things that the manufacturers and the bakers and all these other guys absolutely love. Well, one, it really, and I do mean really, screws with your insulin response. Bad. So much so that you're going, I'm crashing. I got to eat something. So that you're gobbling down more of this stuff. Vicious cycle. You're now back up, crashing and burning yet again. The other thing, too, is also high fructose corn syrup is a it's a thirst provoker. So basically, you're eating this crap, and then you're drinking the soda on top with this crap. So it's giving you an insulin response, which is making you hungry to eat more. And oh yeah, it's thirst provoking, so you're going to drink more. Vicious cycle, vicious cycle, vicious cycle. So then you start looking at like the human condition right now is obviously there's a lot of people who are carrying around a bunch extra weight because, oh yeah, these two previous things are now coming into play. They're sucking this stuff down like candy, literally, and they're sucking this stuff down like crazy because, oh yeah, they're trying to stay hydrated because they're getting the thirst-provoking thing that makes them say, oh yeah, dude, you're really, really thirsty. So rather than grabbing a simple bottle of water and flushing their system correctly, they're putting this gack in there and they're doubling down on stupid, more and more and more and more and more and more and more. It's actually got to the point now that if I go someplace and I actually want to drink something, if I'm not drinking coffee, I might drink one. And I do mean usually like one Diet Coke. And that's pretty much my limit. I mean, if I drink two, it's really just like I'm just thirsty at that point. It's not like I'm basically relying on it because as soon as I get back out and I'm flushing the system with some more water or preferred method with some more Java. So the thing about it is this stuff is bad juju. Now, so Patriot Ringer says, lost me on this one because I make my money on corn, beans, and wheat. So can agree to disagree. Well, the major problem is while you could be using corn for other things, they've actually tweaked the market in such a way that people are using it to make high fructose corn syrup rather than using the corn to be corn. And the thing that's kind of sick is you can look at the market nowadays and it's like just how many products are actually bio-derived from corn, besides the obvious, corn chips and, obviously other products made from the base element. But the thing about it is they're now using corn as the adjunct item to make this laboratory experiment. And it's bad juju, okay? And also, never mind the fact that you basically have Monsanto tweaking the stuff and, biologically modifying things and what have. If I see a package that says contains a bio-modified ingredient, guess what? I'm not eating it. Or at least I'm going to make damn certain I don't eat it a second time. Scrolly. Scroll. This one, I said it was going to be happening. And I cannot begin to tell you just how unbelievably awesome it is that it's actually happening. That people are going to be boycotting New York City. They weren't going to be investing there. And they see it as a direct swipe at them for this legal chicanery that took place to stick Donald John Trump with some ungodly amount of, you basically are guilty of doing something that really hurt nobody and you paid off your bills. It's bad juju from the outset. Just give me 1 second here. All right. So anyway, what's going on here is they say that most cities only have 3 days of food on the shelves. And I know for a fact that New York City is not a city of long view planners. So there's some hashtags floating around now. The most utilized one currently is hashtag truckers for Trump. And it's been going out now that most truckers really are MAGA guys. I mean, they really are truckers who are for Trump. There's no doubt about it. They are stating it very clearly. So truckers who support former President Donald Trump said to refuse to drive loads to and from New York City following the $355 million verdict in Trump's civil fraud trial. Now, mind you, even the guys who dealt with him financially are like, he paid his bills. We didn't have a single axe to grind with him. He's been absolutely great to deal with. And we don't know why you guys are fighting him for this, for a nuisance at best on your part. And there's nothing on his part that says he did something illegal, other than the fact you're really just looking for a reason, to screw him over. So a trucker by the X name, and I do mean Twitter, Chicago Ray, took to the social media platform Friday night, posted a video in which he expressed fellow truckers' outrage at the verdict. Quote, I've been on the radio for over an hour, and I've talked to at least 10 truckers who are going to start refusing loads of Monday to NYC. I've talked to 3 guys who work with Texas. The boss told him no, NYC. So truckers are 95% Trump. It'll get overturned on appeal, but you know how F-chucking hard it is to get one of these mother F-chuckers in the NYC, cut the Bravo Sierra, I'll see you down the road. And that's cleaning up about as much as I can. The guy was cursing literally like a trucker. So in the video, Chicago Ray said, truckers are tired with you leftists, focus on getting Trump, and added truckers' bosses did not care where the loads are dropped. Quote, I don't wish nothing on nobody, but what I'm hearing about, this is real, said Chicago Ray, wearing a Trump hat on the video. On Sunday morning, Ray's post had been viewed more than 5.4 million times and received more than 54,000 likes. Now, let me break down a basic demographic for you guys. Obviously, I do have, I don't know if I would say a huge YouTube channel, but I'm in excess of 3 million views now. The amount of comments and the amount of likes that I get on a video is a scant 1%, sometimes 10%, but that's it. So if you look at the numbers and it says 54,000 likes and 5.4 million times viewed, that's in league with correct numbers. So 1% people saying, I'm going to take the trouble to actually click the like button. Most people don't do that. They simply just watch videos and, they scroll into the next video. It's unusual for somebody to actually take the active interest to, to comment, but for somebody to click a like button is only a little bit more likely, as it were, quote unquote. But this guy is saying New York is about ready to get hammered. Since Chicago Ray shared the video, others commented in support of the alleged boycott. 40-year truck driver here, not OTR anymore, but truckers can shut down NYC. We can always rely on trucker to restore some semblance of the right thing in response. Thank you for the many here on X for your courage to stand up to the Marxist leftists. So it's not going to be good for New York. And so much so that, it's about ready to get really, really, really bad. We scroll over here. I'm going to go across the ocean to the other side of, calamity going on now over in, between Gaza and Israel. But let's just say that, Hamas is about to, what? Around and find out. Yeah, they're about to. Around and find out. Oh, yeah, they're about to FAFO for real. The bold declaration to have a significant impact on the war in Gaza. Israel has issued a stern ultimatum to Hamas. Release the hostages or spend Ramadan dodging Israeli rockets. This development comes as Israeli defense forces are working to rescue hostages taken during the Hamas October 7th surprise attack on Israel. The ultimatum was issued by Benny Gantz, a member of Israel's war cabinet, on Sunday. Quote, the world must know, and Hamas leaders must know, if by Ramadan our hostages are not home, the fighting will continue everywhere, to include the Rafah area, Gantz said. The holy Muslim month of Ramadan begins this year on March 10. Quote, we will do it in a coordinated manner, facilitating the evacuation of civilians in dialogue with our American and Egyptian partners to minimize civilian casualties, the former IDF chief of staff told, and defense minister told the Conference of Presidents, major American Jewish organizations as they convened in Jerusalem. Quote, to those saying the price of the offense is too high, I say this very clearly. Hamas has a choice. They can surrender, release the hostages, and the citizens of Gaza will be able to celebrate the holy holiday of Ramadan, he said. But these guys in Hamas, man, they really want to go down fighting, so they should. They really should. However, those people who are the non-combative participant members of Gaza, it's ridiculous. And the thing about it is Hamas really has done them dirty. I mean, they've been holding off on funds, taking munitions, stashing it in their houses. Basically, all the aid and everything that was intended for the people of Gaza was snatched up and utilized by Hamas. So, real dirty pool there, and they basically have screwed over their own people just to say they want to basically run Israel off the map. You guys might have a population, parity, or you might be kind of close in terms of like what you think it is. But when it comes right down to it, no, you guys are basically an area the size of Washington, D.C., besides something the size of New Jersey. And if nothing else, the Israelis have been preparing for this forever. They know how to fight. And also, the most important thing, if you look at the way that Golda Meir said, they really have no other choice. They must win. Golda was absolutely correct in that regard. We have no choice. We must win. If we don't win, we die. So when you back the little guy into the corner and you're the big guy, he's not going to just fight you. He's probably going to have to kill you because he's got no other alternative. There's another hashtag floating around about the truckers. Hashtag boycott NYC. Man, you want to talk about a city that just basically boned themselves hard? Jeez. So this one I think is absolutely hilarious. So this one is another reason why the Democrat Party really is just not those guys. They really truly had an opportunity to do something kind of honorific and do it correctly for President's Day, but
fatality.
Okay, I don't know about the sneeze and fart, but it definitely was fatality. For President's Day, the Democrats actually forgot they have another president that is still alive. They noted in I guess it was a meme or something along those lines on their probably like X and Facebook and all the rest of these things, but they noted Clinton, they noted Barack Obama, and they noted Joe Kaka. However, they forgot that there was one more still around. Oh, yeah, 99-year-old Jimmy Carter. Yeah, and they were so embarrassed and they had to redo the post, but they only added in a picture with Carter beside the other three guys. Yeah, when these guys do it, they just go square into the
no-no zone.
Yeah, it's just.
I say we take off and nuke the entire
no-no zone.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that one. Go up to space and nuke the entire no-no zone from orbit. Anyway, so they basically did it to themselves, making themselves look like fools. And these are the guys who really want to run everything. Never forget the incompetence. Just don't, okay? It's just
no-no zone.
Yeah, it's truly no-no zone. They are just utter incompetence. This one I find to be completely, absolutely, positively, amazingly, maybe not even all that far away from the depths of standard thinking here, okay? You have two popular guys. One you believe is good president. One you believe would be really, really proactively good in a lesser role, but still very, very good. So what's come down to now is coming in from the Washington Examiner. Former President Donald Trump leading the GOP primary opponents by a mile from the 2024 election polls. Some voters are already considering who he might pick as a running mate, and one name stands out on a list of 14 potential selections. Now, in the room, throw me some names. Who do you think is on that list of 14? Throw me some names. I'm kind of curious where you guys are thinking here. So potential Veeps on the ticket, for Trump running for POTUS a second time or a third time now. So who do you think would be a good matchup with Don? Yeah, who do you guys think it would be? Waiting. Patriot Fever, the IDF has gone. the thing about that really is charitable to those guys in Gaza is they better be extremely, absolutely, positively happy that when the Israelis fight, they fight with restraint. Because if they really truly mean to wreck the place, oh my stars and garters, it would be so much worse. So who do you think would be a good Veep accordingly that would run with Trump? Well, I'm going to run through the list for you from bottom to top. Gathering, hang on a second. Let me open this image in a new tab so I can see what I'm looking at here because it's kind of small. Okay, that's a little big. Okay, so 3% is Byron Donalds. Don't know that person from Adam. Marjorie Taylor Greene also only getting 3%. Elise Stefanik would be 4%. J.D. Vance would be 4%. Carrie Lake is only 5%. General Mike Flynn, 7%. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, 7%. Kirsty Noem, 10%. Tucker Carlson, 12%. Ben Carlson, who I think would be absolutely unbelievable in a presidential cabinet. He needs to be in there somewhere. Tim Scott is 19%. Ben Carson is 17%. Both those gentlemen, I think, would be absolutely amazing in a cabinet. Going up to 21% would be Vivek Ramaswamy, and I think he would be absolutely epic in the cabinet as well. Nikki Haley is 24%. So, anybody want to take a stab at who they think would be the numero uno best guy? What crazy is crazy enough the Dems won't get rid of Trump. Oh, that's funny, PF. No. Gathering and garnering 34% as a potential Veep candidate. A lot of people really like Ron DeSantis. Following distance by Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy, it wasn't even close to the latest INI-TIPP's latest online poll. The poll from those two guys conducted a survey of whom Trump should pick as his running mate for the 2024 election. There was 14 names to choose from. The winner by a wide margin was Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. Second was Nikki Haley. DeSantis received 34% of the vote, with Haley 10 points behind. A surprising sixth-place winner was Tucker Carlson, who at one time was rumored to be Trump's pick. I thought that was really funny. Some people might be surprised to see DeSantis in the first place. Trump has mercilessly attacked his former ally, even before DeSantis entered the GOP primaries, but DeSantis is a very popular governor who won re-election in 2022 by over 1 million votes. DeSantis is considered a successful leader, helping Florida during various crises during COVID and damaging hurricanes. Picking him up can pull in many voters who are currently on the face of second Trump administration. That really doesn't make a lot of sense. So anyway, that's from AmericanJournalDaily.com. Scrolly. This one begins and ends and further cracks me the heck up. PF, it's not written in stone. That's merely a poll of people who think it's a good idea. That doesn't say that Trump's going to do it. Because when you look at the guy, he's definitely his own person. This one cracks me up. So, supposedly New York is now stated. Trump cannot run anything in New York City for the 5 years, whatever the hell it is, because it's named in the case as Trump and his sons in the case. However, New York is ignorantly snarky, hard-charging, seems to forget a little bit of factoids in this equation. Donald Trump Jr., the other sons, they aren't the only members of the family who are high-ranking and can run stuff. Because you got to remember, in a monarchy, there's not just kings. Oh, yeah, there's also queens. Oops. Yeah, seems New York, in all their arrogance, they forgot completely that, from Newsweek, Trump's businesses could be saved by his other family members, however, such as his wife, Melania Trump, or his eldest daughter, Ivanka, who left the family company in 2017 to serve in Trump's White House. Actively not part of the company now, could be brought in as officers to then run the company before such time as Trump has now said, well, you can't have anything further to do with the businesses. As long as he signs the paperwork and says, Ivanka and, Melania are running things, they're running things. and there ain't New York one could do about it. So, legal experts have previously assessed that the former president would be able to hold on to his properties, even if barred from conducting businesses, by transferring his company to his family members not included in the case. Quote, Engoron's order prevents Trump and his sons from serving as officers or directors in New York, but they still can be shareholders. That means that they can own the companies, but they just can't run them. However, his wife and his daughter can. Coming in from Newsmax.com, and yet again, we're talking about New York. Oh, New York, man. You guys really, truly are about to.
Around and find out.
Oh, you are really about to.
Around and find out.
FAFO. Coming in from Newsmax.com, the Trump ruling could spur New York businesses and an exodus. Coming in from, like I said, Newsmax, New York businesses may leave the state following New York Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron's historic $364 million verdict against Donald Trump. Tough financial services executives told the New York Post. They're already considering the New York Attorney General's office a major obstruction for doing business, starting with former Attorney General Eliot Spitzer, aka the Sheriff of Wall Street. Despite forcing financial firms to fork over billions, Spitzer's cases primarily focused on minor offenses. The state has liberally used state laws such as the Martin Act for political advancement, according to the Post. In cases against Trump and former General Andrew Cuomo, New York Attorney General Letitia James has taken Spitzer's strategies to a new level, Wall Street executives say. Trump's case centered on his real estate company's valuations for properties for loan applications to a major bank that did its own due diligence. And the thing about it is the bank had no issue with it. Nobody said Trump was doing anything that was not anything different than anything anybody else ever did with the valuation of his properties as a certain dollar amount that's different than the dollar amount. And oh yeah, supposedly $1.5 billion piece of property down in Florida is not worth $18 million. You are not a real estate mogul. You're a lawyer, and you're not a good one at that. Just give me a second here. Scroll. Trump's case centered on the real estate company's valuations for properties on loan applications to a major bank that did its own due diligence. James ran for office, repeatedly vowing she would prosecute Trump. Just for that alone, believe business leaders, most of whom are not supporters of Trump, James should have been disqualified. No snap. The Attorney General's case against Cuomo is based on sex offenses. Accusations have never been trials in court, but forced Cuomo from office. Okay, I'm not going to read any further than this. We all know New York is beyond corrupt. Okay, that's putting it nicely. It is beyond corrupt. There's a guy by the name of Lewis that basically does, the computer repair stuff, or used to, sold off on that, and he still has a YouTube channel. I think he's now working for a nonprofit down in Texas. They're still sending him notices going, you owe us money. And he's like, look, I wasn't even doing any business in your state during this time period. Nice try. Go away. If you want to try to drag me into court, try. It's going to be fun. Try to drag me into court and, try to stick me with this because I wasn't even in an operation. You knew the business was not even an operation. I wasn't even a part of it in this timeline. Go away. So they're still sending him pestograms, and it's just ridiculous. Hang on a sec. I think I could actually find it real quick. Louis Rossman. That's who he is. Louis Rossman. So I guess he sold the company and got out of there while he was still able to, and literally relocated himself to Texas because he just got sick of playing the games with New York City. Every time he turned around, they were sticking him for more cash. I cannot begin to tell you how often this news story is happening. Coming up from TruthPress.com, yet again. Oh, my word. He's doing it again. We're talking about Joe Kaka trying to climb up the stairs for Air Force One. All right. So anyway, he's trying to climb up the stairs.
And thing sucks.
Okay. Anyway, Tuesday, President Biden boarded Air Force One before a flight to the West Coast, lost his footing seemingly twice, but managed to stay on his feet this time. As seen in the video from the episode, Biden is using the staircase to board the modified Boeing 747, one of the many changes made to the president's routine by aides hoping to prevent more attention from being drawn to the octogenarian's fitness. So he's coming up the stairs.
And thing sucks.
Okay, he didn't. Sound guy. He didn't fall. He almost fell. Anyway, he didn't fall. He almost did, but
And thing sucks.
Okay, he didn't fall, sound guy. He didn't fall. There's another video I got listed up on Facebook, and the guy's name is Real Trucker Jake. So I could possibly play this. Let me see if it doesn't work. So I actually do want to play the guy's video. So let me see if this does work. So hang on 1 second here. I'm actually cheating like crazy, trying to go now over to X, formerly known as Twitter, which is not 100% technology of fortitude. I guess it kind of works, but I'm going to play this guy's video. Okay, so he's known on there as the Real Trucker Jake or at Big Sky Fit. All right, so basically nuts and bolts on it, and what it looks like is essentially there is now a minor, or could you say probably even major upswell of support for truckers going, we're not going to watch, I'm saying we're not going to watch it. We're not going to New York City. And the thing about it is there's two levels of trucker operation, and it falls under something called authority. Now, I'm not a trucker, obviously, but I do know something about the industry. Obviously being inundated for, ever doing towing and what have you. I have transportation type stuff, been in it for a long time. So under authority, there's two ways of doing it. One, you are under your own authority. Translation, all the insurance, all the vehicle upkeep, all the paperwork, and all the rest of that folderol, keeping your time clock correct and all the rest of that stuff, that is on you. Now, essentially me doing Uber, I'm running under my own authority. I really, truly am. I mean, essentially, that's the way it works. I am under my own authority. Now, next over, there is the secondary aspect of being under somebody else's authority. So you might still own your truck, but you are contracted, your insurance, your vehicle upkeep, all manner of paperwork is then including even the contracting of what you do next. Who are you now actually hauling for next? All that stuff falls under the company to go, okay, you go here, you drop that load, you pick up that trailer, you drop that trailer over here. This other trailer, you didn't basically haul around, take this load after it gets loaded in there, keep using that trailer, until such time as we tell you to not use that trailer. And they're basically the quote unquote boss. If you're running under your own authority, you are the quote unquote boss. So anybody that basically still works for somebody else under their authority, you can say, look, I ain't going to New York. It's a waste of time. I don't want to go there. It's really against my normal routes. It takes me too far out of the way. I don't get home often enough. There's a million different ways to phrase it to say, I don't want to go to New York City. Most of the time, the truckers don't want to go to New York City because it is bleeding inconvenient. You go to the terminal, you're trying to drop your stuff. These guys are walking around going, yeah, it's not so important that I really deal with you right now. You can wait. So the worst thing you can say to a trucker is you can wait, because dude is not making money. Anytime the wheels ain't turning, the gas ain't burning, you ain't earning. So that's the name shake on that one. Is if you make it hard for the truckers, they're not going to like you to begin with. And it ain't going to take much for them to go, you know what? I really, truly don't like you, and I don't want to deal with you anymore. So when you start doing this stuff and you start hitting them someplace where it's that extra little eat to the nuts that they don't really want to take, guess what? They're not going to service you. They're not going to have anything to do with you. And when it comes right down to it, you're going to have a hard time finding somebody else to take the shortfall. That's not happening because these guys are out of there and they don't want to deal with you any longer. You have worn out your welcome. You've made them pissed off. And, oh, yeah, just out of general principles, they're just going to not feeling like dealing with you right now. So that's what's going on with that one. And it's going to get much, much, much worse for New York City. Believe that. New York City is not going to come out of this one triumphant in the slightest. Trust me on this one. It is not going to work out for them. And when you have a population base that is fully centered in an area that is not easy to disseminate to other places, it's not going to go good. I can tell you for a fact, most of the people that live in the city have this high arrogance. They don't drive. I mean, they really don't drive. Most of them, even if they do have a driver's license, they're like, yeah, there's no need for me to have a car because, well, I'm not driving anywhere. So I'm not going to go any place that needs to have a car. And if they do need a car, well, they can rent a car, or they could do like the Zip cars or something like that. However, you have somebody that doesn't drive real often and they're now in a car. That is a scary proposition. Most of the time in the city, they're getting around obviously with the trains, or they're using cabs, or they're using Uber, or they're using other rideshare methods. There's a bunch of gypsy cabs around, and obviously, there is placarded, cabs driving around as well. So they can use all those means and methodologies, but most of the time, it's just not going to work out for them. Trust me on this one. When the truckers say it's not good times for me to be here, and you got to drive to, I don't know, like a whole other area to go shopping, say like, oh no, maybe down to New Jersey. Okay, first and foremost, you got to get the car. Then you got to go down to New Jersey. Then you got to pay all the tolls. Now, this is going back some years. The last time I went across the GW Bridge, it was $17 for the toll. Takes you maybe like 90 seconds to 2 minutes to get over the stupid bridge. $17. Now, tractor trailers, they get charged by the axle. $17 was a 2-axle vehicle, passenger vehicle. Tractor trailers, they got 5 axles. So they get slammed. I do remember one time talking with one guy, and I forget if it was somebody I'd worked with or was actually a trucker, but the idiot in the ticket booth literally counted every axle of everything that was on that vehicle being hauled, besides the ones that were on the ground, and then threw that bill at them. And it was somewhere on the order of about like $600 or $700. And they're like, "Are you on your mind? It should be the axles physically on the ground." And they're like, "No, we're going to charge you for axles." Like, okay, all right, that's the way it was going to work. Fine. Basically, handed it off to the boss. The boss is like, "It's just the way it is in New York City," and then handed that charge off probably to the person that they delivered to, because you're in New York City. That's just how things work. Anyway, looking at things as it is, about like 10 and change. And I've been doing it for a while, so good stuff like that there. Oh, music. Hey, good times. Okay, you guys hung out with me on Tuesday. There got better things to do, but you guys hung out with me, and I truly appreciate your kind attentions. So you get a gold star for attendance, and I will catch you guys next week unless I do something sooner. However, remember, if you're in New York City and you decide to go grocery shopping, it might get really, really expensive really, really soon. Believe that. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. Eco-Trip Center, as always, you know you love it. And I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. I'll see you then. Catch you guys later. See you guys. Wrong button. See ya.